Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 67, so let's get to it. Episode 67 begins in Ceres Institute. Someone rings the doorbell, so Ash and Goh open the door and they find Officer Jenny, who is looking for Professor Ceres. Professor Ceres soon appears and he wonders what's the matter. Officer Jenny says that they are conducting an investigation on a case that has been affecting Vermillion City over the past few days. She brought along a detective who is in charge of the investigation. The detective introduces himself as Detective Decker and he tells Professor Ceres to gather all the electric type Pokemon that are in Ceres Institute. Now I love how Pikachu reacts here, like I have a bad feeling about this. So all the electric type Pokemon in Ceres Institute line up in a classic police lineup, complete with the height chart behind them. I honestly had to check a list of Goh's Pokemon because I was like, wait, is that really all the electric type Pokemon that Goh has? And yes, he only has 3 electric type Pokemon thus far. So, Detective Decker tries to find the culprit by using a sketch of the suspect Pokemon. Now, this sketch looks nothing like Arctozolt, Magnemite, or Chinchou, so there is honestly no point in comparing the sketch to them. Eventually, Detective Decker focuses on Pikachu, who resembles the sketch the most. He ends up declaring that he knew it. Pikachu is the culprit, so he uses handcuffs to arrest Pikachu, which is both funny and cute. Of course, the handcuffs are far too big for Pikachu, so they end up being useless. They simply fall off. Pikachu and Grookey then proceed to play with the handcuffs, which is adorable. Detective Decker goes on to say that Pikachu has the right to remain silent and he also has the right to an attorney, and I was like, wait, is this guy for real? So this is a real arrest of a Pokemon. Also, like with the handcuffs, there really is no point in telling Pikachu that he has the right to remain silent, because even if Pikachu did say something, Detective Decker would not understand. I do wonder as well, are there really attorneys out there that would defend a Pokemon in court? If there are, then are they just normal attorneys? And in the Pokemon world, even Pokemon can use a normal attorney. Or are there attorneys that go to law school specifically to become Pokemon attorneys? Meaning that they just deal with cases where Pokemon are the culprit. It's too bad, really, that we don't get to see a trial for Pikachu in this episode, because it would probably have been pretty hilarious. I can picture it already. Yes, Your Honor, I believe that my client is innocent. Ash exclaims that Pikachu did nothing wrong, but Detective Decker says that they have a witness. Officer Jenny then reveals that someone has been stealing electricity from the houses in Vermillion City. So a task force led by Detective Decker was formed to solve the case. While they have not found any concrete evidence, one of the victims did say that they spotted a Pokemon fleeing the scene. The sketch that Detective Decker used before was created based on the testimony of this witness. Now at this point I knew who the actual culprit was, and no detective work was needed. I realized right away that this is probably Morpeko, meaning that Team Rocket are the true culprits. Morpeko does look like Pikachu, so I guess that it is understandable that someone could mistake Morpeko for Pikachu, especially at night. Goh says that the culprit could be another Pikachu, and Detective Decker says that they actually checked the alibi of every single electric type Pokemon in Vermillion City, including every single Pikachu, which sounds crazy. Like, does the city have a list or something that says how many electric type Pokemon live in Vermillion City and where they live? Or did Officer Jenny and Detective Decker seriously go to every house in the city looking for electric type Pokemon? I know that this is a silly episode, so I probably should not look for any logic in it. But hey, it's entertaining to poke fun at the absurdity of what is going on here. So Ash says that his Pikachu has an alibi too, because they have always been together. Detective Decker then says that the last theft took place on the previous night at 11 p.m. So he wonders what Ash and Pikachu were doing at the time. Ash says that he was sleeping and therefore he does not know what Pikachu was up to. Detective Decker says that Pikachu could have committed the crime while Ash slept, so Pikachu has no alibi. Officer Jenny tells Detective Decker that maybe he is being too harsh, but he does not listen and he takes Pikachu to the police station for interrogation. He proceeds to question Pikachu by telling Pikachu to confess in a way that is ripped straight out of a classic police / detective story. And I love that Pikachu's like, I have nothing to tell you. Again, I wonder what Detective Decker expects to get out of this interrogation, since he would not be able to understand Pikachu even if Pikachu did confess. Detective Decker then gives Pikachu a bowl of Pokemon food, and he says that Pikachu probably has a mother back home that would be very happy if he confesses and makes up for his crimes. This is a reference to a classic gag in Japanese police films, where the interrogator gives the culprit a bowl of katsudon while asking them, did you ever think about how your mother feels about this? The logic behind this is that the culprit will confess with tears in their eyes upon hearing this question while they eat the katsudon. This gag has been used in a ton of anime, and it shows that this episode is just one big, self-aware reference to classic police and detective films. However, this does not work on Pikachu, who happily eats all the food while Detective Decker talks. And I love how Grookey watches the interrogation like, man, that food looks delicious. Wish I was a suspect too. Ash exclaims once again that Pikachu is innocent, and Goh wonders if Officer Jenny really thinks that Pikachu is the culprit. She says that she knows Ash and Pikachu, so she believes that they are innocent. But Detective Decker is in charge of the investigation, and he would not be convinced that Pikachu is innocent without evidence. The lights then flicker, which suggests that the electricity thief is striking again. This alarms Pikachu, who escapes the police station in search of the source of the electric disturbance, while Detective Decker says that the suspect has escaped police custody. Everyone chases after Pikachu and they eventually get to a house. The owner of the house soon appears and he says that his electricity was stolen. Since Pikachu was at the station when it happened, he can't possibly be the culprit, and this proves that Pikachu is innocent. They all then try to find the real culprit, but they can't, so they head back to the station. Detective Decker is confused because the thief always attacked at night, but now the attack took place in broad daylight, and the attacker still left no clues. Officer Jenny says that they do have a lead, however. Pikachu can detect when the thief strikes, so he may be able to help them find the thief. Detective Decker says that Pikachu will be added to the investigation team as a special agent. Ash and Goh say that they want to help too, and so they are given police uniforms which they will wear as they help with the search. I love that Pikachu and Grookey both pose like they are ready to enforce the law. Grookey even holds its stick like a police baton. Ash and Goh say that they are happy that they get to be police officers for a day, complete with their own uniforms. And they say that they have always wanted to try being police officers. They both then imagine a scenario where they live out their ideal vision of being a police officer. A child soon appears and he says that he lost his Vulpix, so Officer Jenny, Ash, and Goh decide to help him find Vulpix. This proves to be a daunting task, however, since they go to a park and they spot dozens of Vulpix. Officer Jenny wonders if the boy's Vulpix has any features that distinguishes it from the other Vulpix. The boy says that his Vulpix has a heart-shaped tail. With this description, the search begins while the opening plays in the background. Ash and Goh still can't find the Vulpix, however, even with the description, and they end up tired. But they soon notice that Pikachu and Grookey are playing with a Vulpix that has a heart-shaped tail, so case closed. The boy is reunited with his Vulpix. However, Officer Jenny, Ash, and Goh soon get more requests for help, and they go on to help a ton of people, and they also stop people that are breaking the law in some way. They stop a couple that was speeding under Dodrill, which is funny since speeding is something you would normally do in a car. They were also riding double. I have seen characters get in trouble in a ton of anime for riding double on a bicycle, so I guess that Japan is very strict about this. They move a Snorlax that was sleeping in the middle of the road. I seriously doubt that you could move a Snorlax by pushing it, but somehow they succeed. They help a group of Psyduck cross the street, and they also help an old lady and her Purugly cross the street. And finally, they also ironically untangle two Tangela. Ash and Goh end up exhausted, and they say that they admire Officer Jenny for putting up with so many mundane tasks daily. Officer Jenny says that making sure that people can live happy is part of a police officer's job, and she says that Ash and Goh were a great help. Goh says that they have not found anything relating to the electricity thief though. However, Pikachu detects something right as Goh says this, and so Pikachu leads them to a house that just had its electricity stolen. The owner confirms that the thief did indeed strike, strike. However, she did not see the culprit because they left the scene immediately. Officer Jenny says that even if Pikachu can sense a theft, they will lose time getting to the scene, so the culprit has plenty of time to get away. This gives Goh an idea. They can find the house and Pikachu can discharge a ton of electricity which will attract the thief. They can then ambush the culprit. Goh decides to use Chloe and Professor Cerise's house for this, much to Chloe's annoyance. Pikachu uses Thunderbolt on the house's electrical box and all the appliances in the house go crazy due to the massive surge in electricity. Hopefully Chloe and her family can explain this to the power company, otherwise the electric bill will be ludicrous. Goh takes another look at the sketch of the suspect and he wonders if it really is a Pikachu because Pikachu don't have a habit of absorbing electricity. He wonders what Pokemon wants electricity. Ash mentions Dedenne and Goh says that the sketch does look like a Dedenne. But Officer Jenny says that they checked the alibi of every Dedenne in the city as well. A purple car with an R on the side soon drives up to the house. The culprits are Team Rocket as expected, and they have clearly seen better days. It turns out that Morpeko ate all their food again, so they decided to steal electricity so that they could feed it to Morpeko. This way, Morpeko won't eat their food anymore. They made a vacuum car for this purpose. However, there is a critical flaw in their plan. Since the car is electric, they spend some of the electricity they steal in order to drive back to their hideout. So, they decide that this time they will feed Morpeko immediately. Morpeko starts to get restless due to hunger, so Team Rocket proceed to steal electricity from Chloe's house. It's funny that Chloe's hair goes crazy due to the static electricity. Everyone inside the house notices that the power is gone, so they know that the thief is nearby. Team Rocket managed to get a full charge of electricity, but when they turn to Morpeko, they notice that Morpeko is gone. It turns out that Morpeko snuck into Chloe's house and it stole some food. Ash and Goh notice Morpeko and they run after it, which leads them to Team Rocket. It's funny that Team Rocket are going to say it's the Brat Boys on Reflex, but they notice that Ash and Goh are dressed as police officers. So they awkwardly say it's the Brat Cop Boys instead. Officer Jenny handcuffs Jessie, but Meowth easily destroys the handcuffs with his claws. Team Rocket then get in their car and they drive away. Officer Jenny, Ash, and Goh chase after them in a police car. Meowth uses some of the electricity they stole to attack, using the vacuum on the car as a cannon. Officer Jenny expertly dodges the electricity. She then tells Growlithe to use Swift, which derails Team Rocket. However, they derail into planks which end up blocking the road, so Team Rocket managed to slip away. Team Rocket end up going to an abandoned building where they offer Morpeko the electricity in a baby bottle, which is pretty funny. Morpeko rejects the electricity, however, which shocks Team Rocket. Team Rocket's Pokédex then says that of course Morpeko rejected the electricity. It gets hungry when it discharges electricity, so it eats food to fill back up. Which means that it does not make sense that it would want to eat electricity. Jessie wonders why did the Pokédex not say anything about this before, and the Pokédex says that Team Rocket did not ask, so it did not say anything. Basically, Team Rocket wasted their time. Officer Jenny, Ash, and Goh soon arrive. Team Rocket say that they give up. Since what they did was useless, they return the electricity, which Pikachu absorbs and uses to give Team Rocket a good shock with Thunderbolt, and so Team Rocket blasts off again. It's odd that there was no Team Rocket motto in this episode. I guess that they are far too exhausted from not eating to bother with it. The episode then transitions to Cerise Park, where Pikachu is presented with a pedestal and a certificate in honor of his contribution to solving the case. Detective Decker gives Pikachu the certificate and Officer Jenny gives Pikachu a bowl of food. Both of them thank Pikachu for his help. Officer Jenny also thanks Ash and Goh for their help and they both agree that it was fun. Detective Decker then says that Pikachu would make a great partner and he wonders if Pikachu would be interested in tackling the toughest cases. He says that he would call Pikachu something, but Pikachu shocks him before he can say what. I bet that he was going to say Detective Pikachu and Pikachu shocked him so that he could not say it because I guess it would break the fourth wall in too big a way, so they rather imply it instead of saying it outright. Also, it's ironic that Detective Decker was so convinced convinced that Pikachu was the culprit and now he wants to have Pikachu as a partner, but that's the episode. Overall, this was a fun and enjoyable episode and there really isn't much more to say about it. It was one of those episodes where nothing important happens and instead, the episode is filled with silly and nonsensical situations that are meant to be funny. Now, normally I don't review episodes like this and instead I only review the very exciting episodes. The episodes where meaningful things happen. The only reason why I reviewed this episode is because my current top 2 videos are episode reviews on episodes that focus on Pikachu. Both videos have been performing very well recently. They have both been at the top for several weeks, and one of them even became my most watched Pokemon video thus far. So I figured that people must really like Pikachu, which is understandable considering that Pikachu is the face of the Pokemon franchise. And thus I decided to review any episodes that focus on Pikachu from now on. Assuming of course that this review does as well as the 2 I mentioned before, which would prove that Pikachu is indeed very popular. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching and let's meet again in the next video.